What's up, everyone? Welcome to Wednesday night Mythic Conversations. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy Gerard. I'm a collector and customizer who also has the distinct privilege of being the director of sales and marketing for Four Horsemen Studios, which of course means that all the content that you see at the official website, which is www.sourcehorseman.com, is content that I help to bring you. If you want more of my work, want to see more of the stuff I do, best place to do so is at Mythic Customs on Instagram. Of course, I'm also here every single Wednesday night doing this show, the weekly show where we talk about all things Legions, whether you are tuning in live, catching the replay, first-time viewer, or long-time fan of the show. Thank you so much for checking it out. Please like the video, comment in the video if you have any questions. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing that. Ring that bell, as they like to say. Thank you all very much for joining me this evening. Couple weeks, right? We are a couple weeks away, just under 4 weeks away from LegionsCon 2022. That is going to be a big part of what I talk about this evening, because I've been thinking about this year's LegionsCon since, quite honestly, last year's LegionsCon. That's when we started, planning this. We're literally planning, the future year event while we're still executing on that year. It's crazy. The cycle of the show, it doesn't stop. It literally does not stop. You're going full-time trying to get this done. So I've had a lot of time to think about it. I'm pretty excited for my plans for this year, and I'm going to share some of that with you this evening. But also here to have a conversation. That's why I named the show Mythic Conversations, because I want to hear from you. Hit me up in the chat throughout the evening if you have any questions, and I'm happy to talk about that. Tonight's show is actually a little more low-key. Like I said, I have plans that I want to share with you, things I want to talk about, but I don't have a presentation. I don't have a guest or anything like that. So definitely have some time within the next 90 minutes to chat and to answer some questions. So let's do it. Let's see. Yes, Eduardo, LegionsCon is getting very close. I am so incredibly pumped. Yes, Drew Grubbs, my friend, here since the first episode. Drew, thank you so much for all that support. That is absolutely incredible. I know, Eric, feels like we just left, right? Troy saying, I was wondering if you're going to talk about LegionsCon tonight. Yeah, it's the topic of the topic du jour, I guess. By the way, if you aren't already watching, if you aren't already subscribed to the channel for Trevor Williams 1/6 Shooter, they do a it's usually bi-weekly show called Legions Lounge. Really great show. Trevor, Nate and Bill, they do that show. It's great. They've been doing weekly in the lead up to LegionsCon. They call it the Road to LegionsCon. Wonderful episodes. They've had 3 of them so far. The one they did this Monday was hilarious. It was with the crew from the My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me podcast. The inspiration behind this year's Furious 4, the characters in that set. Those are some good friends of mine. It was wonderful to hear them. They're always a riot. Not always safe for work, of course, if you know that show. Not for the easily offended or faint of heart, but it is a funny interview. Check that out. And it's interesting just to hear everyone talking about LegionsCon and getting excited for it. I'm getting excited for it. Listening to Trevor's last couple weeks of shows, I was pumped up to talk about, like I said, my plans for LegionsCon. See, we're going. A lot of people just talking about Figura Obscura. A lot of people just giving their thoughts about what they'd like to see next. Some really cool suggestions in there for as well. Chuck says, I am grinding daily for LegionsCon. It's crunch time. Yep, Chuck is one of the exhibitors at this year's show. He's getting those torches ready. Are Cosmic Legions test figures to be shown at the con? There will be Cosmic there. I don't know exactly what will be there. We'll have to see. Yeah, we did have the Cosmic test shots at RetroCon. Chris saying, lots of work to do for LegionsCon. Lots of work done for LegionsCon, but still lots more to get done. Personally, I'm in pretty good shape. I'm actually feeling really good. I travel to the studio in Jersey this Friday, so I've got a little bit of pause, but I'm feeling good. Thank you, Eduardo, for that offer. I think we're all set, but I appreciate that offer very, very much. So I just mentioned that I'm going to be traveling to New Jersey this weekend. Let's talk about that first, because that is an important piece of news. ToyCon New Jersey is happening this coming weekend, which is interesting because if you know the history of LegionsCon, LegionsCon up until this year was paired with ToyCon. It was a little after party in 2019. It was a little after party after day one of of ToyCon. Last year it was run alongside ToyCon as day two, like the Sunday. ToyCon goes on Saturday and Sunday. We did LegionsCon on the Sunday. So this is the first year that we've separated, that LegionsCon is doing its own thing. But ToyCon, which is a show that is run by my friend Joe Viteri, Lord Viteris himself, he runs ToyCon. It's a really cool show. Four Horsemen Studios. This is like the local show for Four Horsemen Studios, right? Because it's at a place called the Wayne PAL. So PAL, P-A-L, stands for Police Athletic League. It's like a giant kind of gymnasium style setup. Joe rents, pretty much the entire place except for the cafeteria, and puts on a really expansive show. Lots of cool toys, lots of cool collectibles, and Four Horsemen Studios. It's really close to the studio. It's right down the road, like 15 minutes away or something like that, which is great because we can drive the RV there. We can bring a ton of product. That's what we normally do. It's going to be a little bit different this time, but still going to be super cool. If you saw the post that I made earlier this week, because LegionsCon and ToyCon are so close together, we didn't want to do the same thing at both. We didn't want to bring all of the same product to both of them. It just felt like it was unnecessary. But we also didn't want to skip ToyCon. So we said, you know what would be a cool idea? We have all of this, what we call less than perfect stock at the studio. Now, these are not things that are trashed. If we get a figure that's really in bad shape, that gets pulled for something else. Usually it gets pulled and the parts get used for future projects, right? So for instance, when a new figure is being created, we have boxes of parts. So if a new figure is being created and it needs a part that already exists in the line, that's already been tooled, we just grab an old figure and we use that part. So we will routinely, the amount of times I've heard Eric Treadaway say to Joe Vassapolo, can you go pull this list of parts? Joe will go and pull all these parts out of, the boxes where they live, and we'll put together these mismatched figures that are then fully painted to become the new characters. Now, obviously, any parts that are not already tooled, any new parts, those have to be 3D printed, and those are added to the figures to create the prototypes. So anything that's super, super trashed would probably just be pulled apart and put in those boxes, because we're not going to do something that's really messed up. But when I say less than perfect, I mean something like a perfect example, if I know we have some of these, is the Bronze Dwarf Legion Builder. So the Bronze Dwarf Legion Builder has those golden antlers in the package. Well, say that one of the antlers is kind of bent. right? Its figure's fine. A lot of people that are buying it might even be customizing it, maybe pulling those antlers off. That's the type of thing that we try not to send out to customers. If we see that, we don't want to send it because we don't know. There might be a customer who's a mint and box collector who's like, oh, visually, this doesn't look really appealing or as appealing. I would prefer one that actually looks correct. So things like that. It could actually be box damage. It could be like a little smudge on the figure or something. There's a lot of small minor defects that would prevent a figure from getting shipped out. The figures are still totally fine. For most of us, especially people that are getting them to pull them apart or army build or something, a lot of these are totally fine. Some of them are literally a piece has fallen off in the package, like an Equidron that the head fell off. Well, the Equidron boxes are sealed. So if we cut that seal, pull it out, and pop it on, we're kind of changing the figure. We're cutting that seal. We don't really want to do that. So that's a figure that would go in the less than perfect pile. That's what we're bringing to ToyCon. We're bringing a whole bunch of that stuff because at ToyCon, you can actually hold it and say, yeah, this is fine. Now, a lot of people have asked, are the prices going to be discounted? No, they are not. The prices are not going to be discounted because anything that's so bad that it would require a discount, we're not bringing. That's the stuff that I told you just gets pulled for other things. These are things, like I said, that are by and large. These are things that most people, if we sent it to them, they wouldn't even know there's a problem. They wouldn't even read that there's an issue with it. But we believe there is, so we don't want to send it. So that's the type of stuff. Now, it's not going to be crazy stuff. It's not going to be like a gold skeleton or an Otho or something like that. It's more current waves. It's stuff that's been shipping. So stuff like Aerothere and reinforcements, those type of things, All Stars 3 and 4, those are things that have been shipping over the last year or so. That's the type of stuff that has built up some inventory of this less than perfect. That's the type of stuff that will be there. There may be a few other things as well. There are some things that, we do have a fair amount of, some trolls or whatever. So we'll probably bring some of that, but it won't be the same type of stuff that we do at LegionsCon. For instance, a lot of the older figures that were dwindling, we have very, very little of. In some cases, a case left. Those will not be going to ToyCon. Those will be held back for LegionsCon. So that's kind of cool. Going to be something a little bit different. I see a lot of comments coming in. I'm going to get into them in a second. So we finish this thought. I will be at ToyCon all weekend. So I'll be at the Four Horsemen table. I'll be working that table. I'll be meeting fans, but I will also be checking people in for LegionsCon. So let me explain that. If you pre-purchased a ticket for the sold out LegionsCon event, you got an email from Eventbrite, okay? If you can't find the email, if you go to Eventbrite and you log in with your email, you can look at the tickets you've purchased and find it there. There's a QR code in that purchase. To check into LegionsCon, whether you're doing it this weekend at ToyCon or whether you're doing it during actual LegionsCon, you will have to show that QR code. We will scan it. That will check you in. So once you're checked in, your ticket is basically used, right? LegionsCon, it's almost like going to a concert. When you walk in and they scan your ticket, they now know you're there. If you emailed that ticket to somebody else, they couldn't come in and redeem that same barcode because the system's going to say, oh, this barcode's already been redeemed. LegionsCon works the same way. Once you're scanned, we've checked you in. I will hand you a badge. Now, keep in mind, if you elect, you do not have to. If you elect to get your badge early, you got to protect it because I don't have extras. If you come up to LegionsCon and say, oh, I got my badge 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago at ToyCon and I lost it, I can't check you back in because you've already checked in and I don't have another badge for you. So if you're going to pick it up early, you got to be careful with it. You got to protect it, right? That is your entrance for the entire weekend of LegionsCon. So I will be doing that all weekend. Find me at ToyCon. Find me anyway to say hello. I love to meet people. I love to talk to people about Legions and toys and all this stuff. But if you're there and you are already signed up, you've already bought a ticket and you want to check in, I'll be happy to hand you your badge. If you aren't going to ToyCon, no problem at all. Just to get this out there, there will be other opportunities to pick up your badges, specifically Friday evening. So LegionsCon is Saturday and Sunday, November 5th and 6th. That Friday, November 4th, from 5 to 9. I'm saying 5 to 9. If it's really busy, I guess we can go longer, but I think that should probably be enough time, 4 hours. Come on up. The room's going to be blocked off because we're going to be doing vendor setup, but there's going to be a registration table outside of that space. You can come up, get your badge scanned, get your QR code scanned, and pick up your badges so you'll be all set. Because Saturday and Sunday morning, there's going to be 2 lines. One line for people that already have their badges, which that line's going to get in fastest. The other line is going to be people that actually have to pick up their badge. Now, there's no line for people who need to buy tickets because there are no tickets. Very, very clear. LegionsCon is sold out. There will not be tickets at the door. So just like, again, I used the concert analogy earlier. If you're going to see a concert and it is sold out, you can't walk up and say, I want to buy a ticket. They're going to say, I'm sorry, the concert is sold out. LegionsCon is the same way. It's not like a toy show where we're just going to let people in all day because they just rotate. We know people are going to be there for pretty much the duration of the day. We want to manage capacity. We don't want to overdo it. Been very clear about that. That's why we are limiting numbers. It's also why everyone that's coming needs a pass, just like going to a concert or a movie or anything like that. So Saturday and Sunday morning, there will also be a line. If you're coming in super late Friday night, or if you're coming in Saturday morning, say that you live in the area and you're just driving in Saturday or something, that's when you're going to pick up your ticket there, your badge. There will be a line to do that as well. Okay, I'm going to jump back here. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Oh, Dave, that would be telling. That would be telling. Can't tell. Drew saying, opened all of my Alithia Wave all-ins, my Deluxe Legion Builder all-ins, and my Horseman today. Oof. Hopefully you grabbed a pizza, Drew. That's a Mythic Pizza type haul. That is awesome. To get all that stuff in, like I said, it reminds me of the early days of the line when I remember getting those hauls in from the Kickstarter, how exciting that is. Will I be showing off new figures for LegionsCon? Mark, are you asking Jeremy Mythic Customs personally, or are you asking Jeremy as the director of sales and marketing for Four Horsemen? Are you asking, I don't know which one you're asking. I'll answer both. Is Jeremy going to be showing off any new things? Yes. Personally, some of my customs, I will have some brand new things there and some brand new parts. I'll talk about that in a bit. Full Horseman Studios, yes. Not really at LegionsCon, but G-Con is the day before LegionsCon. So G-Con Necronominus, which it's really funny. I was listening to that interview that Trevor did with the guys, the podcast dudes, and Nate Strong actually said that he almost forgot that there's a new wave coming because he's so amped up for LegionsCon that it's almost like the day before the G-Con Necronominus reveal was being overshadowed for him. Now, obviously, if you're not going to LegionsCon, you're not as excited for LegionsCon as people that are. That makes perfect sense. You're probably super amped up for the Necronominus reveal. But they're both going to be absolutely awesome. But Nate, I found that comment to be very amusing. Kind of made me happy that LegionsCon has built this level of excitement that we're challenging G-Con for market share there for the news cycle. But yes, Necronominus, that wave will be revealed on the Friday. That is a virtual broadcast on the Four Horsemen Studios YouTube channel. That runs from 10 a.m. in the morning until 4 p.m. in the late afternoon. 6 hours of us talking and revealing stuff all day. It is going to be mind-blowing. If you've ever seen a previous G-Con, last year's Poxus reveal, Alithia, any of those, you kind of know what to expect. It's a bombardment of amazing stuff all day. And once the cameras stop rolling, the pre-order goes live. So those figures will be revealed and the prototypes will be at LegionsCon for people to see. Does Eric do digital sculpting at the cons? No, Eric does digital sculpting demos at Intern for a Day, but he does not do it actually at the cons. It's not a really conducive environment to do that type of presentation. Maybe in the future, who knows? But that is a very cool special thing. That is something that he does, like I said, at Intern for a Day. And it's always a very, very popular session. Let's see. Again, a lot of people still amped up talking about Figure Obscura, Mothman. I've done a custom Mothman, so he's got a special place in my heart. Now that Sir Gerard has the Dark Templars, without spoilers, will his army continue to grow? Well, we'll see. We'll see. These versus waves. I think a lot of people, they know this year is Necronominus versus versus the Order of Etheron. So if you kind of look at the factions, I know a lot of people are hoping that next year we get to see the Noble Bear versus Red Stars. Who knows? We'll have to see. Yeah, a lot of people buzzing about Cosmic. Very excited for that, obviously. That's still in the production. Still working through everything for that. Can't make LegionsCon, but want Unknown One. Well, keep in mind that the show figures, we will have them at the event. He's 2 per person, just like the 2-pack. The 2-packs, I think, because a lot of people are going to want 2 of the 2-packs so they can mix and match and make the Furious 4. The Unknown One, I don't know how many people are going to want both of them. So there might be some friends out there in the cabal or something that will be hooking people up. There will also be a limited number of them available on Legion Shop. Hopefully a week or so after the event, we'll put those up for sale. But then besides that, there's the standard edition that doesn't come in the same box, doesn't come with the skeleton head, but is still the Unknown One. And it actually has the helmeted head with the horns. That's the actual look of the character that Bill Mancuso designed. So that will be available as well. And like the Sir Gerard, it's available in much larger quantities. That will be available sometime next year. Oh, nice, Drew. He says, I did pizza and an adult beverage. That's my man. He's doing it right. Very, very cool. Will there be an official T-shirt for LegionsCon? Yes, there actually is. They haven't revealed them yet, but they're the artwork. Retro Rags Limited, the official licensor of apparel for Four Horsemen Studios and the Legion's lines. They are going to have a pair of T-shirts. They're going to have one that's got the Furious 4, one that's got the Unknown One. It's got the LegionsCon logo, and it says Secaucus, New Jersey. I think it actually just says Secaucus 2022. So those are going to be available. I know they're going to have some at the show. I'm not sure if they're going to do a pre-order. I think they might do a pre-order to bring to the show and then have some at the show. I did also, hopefully, they're going to make some available after the show as well. Definitely let you know more about that once I know more. Will Pelvicus's Cauldron be the first playset from Four Horsemen? That's a good one, Maverick. Yes, Brick Something. If you are on the Legion Shop mailing list, we will certainly send out an email letting everyone know when they are going to hit, which is exactly what we did last year for Sir Gerard. So as far as LegionsCon goes, let's talk a little bit about what my plans are for this year. So interestingly, I play a few different roles at LegionsCon. Obviously, I'm one of the hosts. So Joe Viteri and myself started LegionsCon back in 2019. We worked together. Joe, if you know anything about Joe, he's a show promoter. So this is what he does. And he handles the logistics. Like, he knows how to organize and put a show on. I have a connection to the community, obviously. I know the artists. I know the fans and stuff. So we work together to bring all of that to create what is LegionsCon. My role is very much to work with the exhibitors and plan out exactly how we're going to do this and create all the show banners and stuff. Actually, at the start of the show, I actually had this shared on screen. So what you're seeing here, these are actually 3 of the show banners. That is the show art, but you will see these gigantic banners at the show. For tonight's kind of cover image, I just grabbed those 3 banner images that I had put together and figured it would be fun to bring up here. So I get to do a lot of that stuff. So I will be, one of the hosts of LegionsCon. Additionally, I will have a presence at essentially multiple tables. So there's obviously the Four Horsemen Studios table. My job as director of sales and marketing, I will be involved intimately all weekend with Four Horsemen Studios. Even if I'm not behind the table the entire weekend, I'm part of the planning of what's going to be there as a whole. So that's part of my role as well. But outside of that, there's also Mythic Customs. There's also, my presence as a fan. So there's the show promoter, there's the official member of the studio. But where I started was a fan. And I think that that's one of the reasons that I've been able to connect with the community, both as a fan and as a member of the studio in such a positive and real way, is because I am legitimately, this is more than a job for me. Like, I love these toys. And if you don't believe me, I have like 30 Detolf cases full of figures behind me that I would use as my proof that I'm a crazy super fan. So I will have a presence there as well. Now, I look back to last year's LegionsCon, and last year's LegionsCon, I did something, it was only the second LegionsCon that we had an exhibit. So the first LegionsCon, I just had a table and I had like a glass case with a couple figures in it, then a couple figures on the table. And it was a very simple display, but it was very much in line with that first LegionsCon. That first LegionsCon was super raw, was super basic, just a number of us with just figures on the table. That's kind of what we did, right? Last year, 2020 was virtual. Last year, I tried to do 2 things. I had my glass cases with figures in it, kind of elevated, and then below them, I had a bunch of stuff for sale. I wasn't happy with my display last year. Like, being at LegionsCon and looking around and seeing certain displays, I wasn't happy with what I did. I looked at displays for like Rich Keiss, Eric Miller. A lot of people have talked about Eric Miller's display and how great it was. Totally agree. Even people like Oberon and Grim Dagon. I looked at these things, Eric LeBron. I looked at their displays. And what I realized about those displays is they weren't trying to do 2 things. They were just exhibiting, right? Now, I think you can do a display where you exhibit and sell. And from what I understand, a lot of those people I just mentioned who last year were only exhibiting, this year they're exhibiting and selling. So we're kind of flipping roles, because while they are going to change their displays to be focused on both exhibiting and selling, I realized last year that I need to do one or the other. I don't want to do both at my table. Luckily, I have the ability to sell stuff at other tables, and I'll get to that in a moment. But at my table specifically, it is going to be focused on display only. So let me explain that, and I will get to the comments in a few minutes. When I started thinking about what I wanted to do this year, I looked in past years, I just brought an array of customs. So I brought customs that I know people like to see. So I did a Boba Fett kind of custom. I know people love to see that. I always bring it. My Princess of the Frogs, my kind of voodoo queen character. She's a super popular one. I always get offers to buy her and I always turn them down. Sorry, Curtis. But I always bring her to shows as well. So I always bring some of those heavy hitters that I know are popular. Then I also bring some stuff that I just think is cool, and I bring some new stuff. I do stuff specifically brand new for the shows to reveal it at the shows, but it's an array of different things. Totally cool. I think there's a lot of value in that. I wanted to go in a different direction this year. The direction I wanted to go in, big surprise, I'm going to blow your mind right now. I'm going to show off a whole bunch of critters. I know that's probably like, whoa, Jeremy showing critters. That's a big surprise. No, it's not, of course. That's kind of what I'm known for. And that's what I wanted to do it. It sounds super pretentious. I know this sounds pretentious to talk about this stuff as art, but that is how I feel about it. This is my art. This is my creative outlet. Okay. I've always been involved in art since I was very, very young. This is the way that I choose to express myself. And for all of those years of being creative and having art to doing art of one kind or another, I've honestly never felt as fulfilled as I have felt with creating these custom figures. And a big, big part of that are the critter custom. So, if you know my work, that I started with the critter. I started with the Kitsune, the fox custom. That was the first part that I ever created for Mythic Legions. I had done many customs prior to that, but that was the first time I created a part. So I was thinking about, how would I build an exhibit if it was an art exhibit, if it was a museum exhibit? I wanted to think about LegionsCon because one of the things that I love about LegionsCon is the art exhibit aspect of the show. I love the fact that there are all of these artists that are there sharing their work. And there's going to be a lot this year selling their work as well. But I love the people that are there sharing their art. So I thought to myself, how would I plan out my display if it was an art exhibit? And I said, you know what? I want to do a retrospective of the work that I've done over the years with Walter DeMarco of Mass Customs and Len LaGuardia of Wolf King Customs, specifically focusing on the critters. We have done so many animal customs, so many animal characters, that it's incredible. And I want to see them all at once. So that is my plan. My display is going to be all the critters. And it's amazing to see them all in one place, to see how many we've actually done and to see them all there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That I've got a couple new customs, a couple new parts that are going to be on display. But as part of that, I actually have something super cool to reveal for all of you tonight. This is a secret I have been sitting on for over a year. So I mentioned that my first part I ever created was the Kitsune. I actually have it right here. So this character here, this kind of Kitsune Fox Samurai custom, this was the first parts I ever created. I've told this story many, many times. To summarize, I wanted a fox head. I wanted a Kitsune. I couldn't find a suitable piece to use. Walter DeMarco of Mass Customs reached out to me and said, hey, I'd love to do a project with you. I said, funny you should mention it. I really want a fox. He sculpted this for me. I ended up getting connected. My friend Anthony Hausil connected me with Len LaGuardia. We struck up a friendship. He printed these for me, and the rest is history. That is a big part of how Wolf King Customs started. This was the first part that Wolf King Customs actually sold. This Kitsune head on this figure is the first one I ever painted. This is literally the sample one that Len sent me that I painted, and I put it here. And what's super cool is this has come full circle. Last year, I got a message from the team at Great Hall Games. Great Hall Games, if you know, are the team that are making the Mythic Legions Tactics War of the Aether Blade video game. They reached out to me and they said, Jeremy, thank you for everything you do for this community. Thank you for everything you've done to help us out. I did a lot of stuff behind the scenes for those guys early on to hopefully get them in their mindset of Mythic Legions, introduce them to this world. And they said, as a thank you, we want to put one of your characters in the video game, which was incredibly cool. And they said, who would you like to put in? And of course, there was only one choice. It was the Kitsune. So Very excited to share with you all today this fun little picture here. This is actually a rendering from the team at Great Hall Game Studios. This is my Kitsune Samurai Kickapoo. That is actually his name. Kickapoo is a name I got from my friend Travis Bowles because he couldn't remember how to say the word Kitsune, so he called him a Kickapoo. And I thought it was a funny name, so I actually named the character Kickapoo. So my character is actually going to be in Mythic Legion Tactics War of the Aether Blade, which also essentially means that the Kitsune race is now part of Mythic Legion's lore. It is part of canon. It is there. It is in the game. It is in the realm of mythos. So super excited about that. Again, I've been sitting on it for a year, wanting to actually announce this and reveal this. Didn't want to do it before I had something to actually show, but now that I do, this is something, and even this image I've had for weeks now and just been waiting for the right time to share it. So there is, I'm sharing it now too, because there is actually a sign going to be on my display that talks about how this all started, and it mentions that the Kitsune is going to be in the game. So didn't want people to see it there for the first time. I wanted to have the chance to announce it. So thank you all very much for all the congratulations that everyone's offering in the chat right now. It is definitely a surreal kind of experience to have this there. So that's what I'm going to be doing at my table. It's going to be all the critters, and it's only going to be display. I've also got some really cool dioramas, including a few that I haven't even shown yet that are going to be available on the table as well. Not for sale. Nothing on the Mythic Custom sale table is for sale. It is all for display only. But what's super cool is I'm going to have some of my work on other tables. I mentioned that. So starting with Legion Shop. If you checked out if you follow my my Instagram, and if you saw, on the Cabal earlier today, I actually posted this image. So yesterday and this morning, very early, I was working on staging the Legion Shop table. I'm super excited for the Legion Shop table, for the layout that we're going to have there. That layout includes the wall of Mythic Customs. This is part of that wall. So what I've decided to do is make some brand new customs and dig into the collection and pull out some customs that I have decided it is time to find a new home. Something I do fairly regularly. Didn't do it for years, and then once I started doing it and selling some of my art, I really enjoy this. There's a number of collectors out there that have multiple pieces of mine in their collections. I'm incredibly thankful for them. So really excited for that. David, I spell Kickapoo a little bit differently, but thank you. I did not know that. So at the Legion Shop table, in addition to custom heads, both painted and unpainted, soft goods, weapons, there's going to be a ton of stuff there. Some of that stuff I've painted, but I will also be bringing about 20 different, just over 20 different full customs that will be available for sale. A number of people ask me the prices. I think the lowest priced one I have is like $85. The highest is probably like $2 and change. I only have a few at those extremes. Most of them are in like the 120 to 160 range, I would say, which that's actually a good topic to talk about custom pricings at LegionsCon. And I'm going to get to that in a moment, but I'm going to dig back and look at some of these comments, because as I was rattling off stuff, I saw coming in at a fevered pace. So let me go back. Okay, back to where I was. Now let me look at some of these comments here. Curtis saying G-Con's what he's most excited for. RetroRags is always doing new designs. They're working on a bunch of cool stuff now. Can't really reveal because it's not my position to reveal their stuff. I got to let them do that. Do the Furious Four and Unknown One fit into the narrative of Mythic Legions in any specific way? They're not major characters. If you read their bios, I mean, the Furious Four are part of the Legion of Aerith there. There's never going to be major storylines that involve those characters. Same thing with the Unknown One. A lot of these characters, they're not, like we've said before, that the PowerCon figures are not part of official lore. They're not going to be in the stories or anything like that. These other characters could be in the story, but they're not major characters in the way that, like, I don't know, Artemis Silvercord is. See me thinking about who to say and who not to say there. I had to really think about it. I was like, everyone knows Artemis is a major character. That's safe for me to say that. Can't say. Thank you, Brick. Something not pretentious. It's art 100%. It's hard. They're toys, and people that are in. If you're in the chat right now, you get it. If you follow my show, you kind of get this environment. But I do spend a lot of time talking to people that are not in this environment, so it's always something that I'm used to explaining. Eric saying, I cannot wait to see the Critter Gallery. It is pretty expansive. And I think you'll enjoy the new ones there too, Eric. I got some fun ones in there. Again, thank you everyone for the congratulations. Eric, I don't believe it's a playable character. I believe he's an NPC, but when it comes out, who knows? If you bug him enough, maybe they'll make him a playable character. Actually, I don't think they can. I think the playable characters have to be from specific races because they've done a lot of mapping for those races. Let's see. Thank you very much, Greg, man. That's awesome. I'll see you soon, man. I'll be in the studio very, very soon. Yes, Greg has some of my custom work. If Kickapoo is canon, could be in a future wave. Rabbit Hamster, don't even go there. Don't even get me started. Who knows? Who knows? No plans for that. I'll be being honest. I'm not even being cagey. There's no plans for that. But it'd be darn cool, right? It'd be darn cool. Mindless. I don't know what Cosmic is going to be at LegionsCon. I know what we're trying to do, but like a lot of things, so stuff like that comes down to the wire sometimes. So I'm trying to see what's going to be there. Okay, so Mythic Customs table, Critter Gallery, all display. LegionsCon, a Legion shop table, that will be where all of my customs are on display. By the way, Legion Shop and LegionsCon are two separate tables. Legion Shop is all the 3D printed parts and customs and stuff like that. The LegionsCon table is right after the Four Horsemen. That is where the figures, the prints, and the pins for the show will be. Not the t-shirts, but the Retro Rags booth is right after the LegionsCon table. So Four Horsemen Studios, LegionsCon, Retro Rags, that's going to be all your show stuff. Also, in addition to those type of things, if you want to see more of my custom work that aren't critters, there will be some on display at the Legion Shop table. So some of the pieces we sell, I've painted the prototype pieces for them that we often show. I've painted pieces that are in my collection. So on the Legion Shop table, there will be customs that are not for sale that are there for display. The ones in the package on the wall will all be for sale, one of each. That's all I have is one of each. But then there's going to be other stuff for display. Additionally, at the Wolf King Customs table, I will also have some customs available just for display as well, showing off some of the Wolf King parts. Len from Wolf King is doing something really cool. He put out a call to the community where he said, hey, customizers, and I think he's full up, so don't reach out to him necessarily now, but he reached out, he put out a call to customizers and said, hey, look, if you don't have a space at LegionsCon and you want to display a figure or two, let me know. I'll make space for you. So he's actually got his own space for his company, and he's opening up some of that space for other people to display their work. And he even said, I'd love it to use Wolf King parts, but it doesn't have to. If it uses other parts that aren't my stuff, that's cool too. Anyone that knows Len knows the dude is the most generous person in our community. incredibly giving. This is just another example of that. So we have a lot of cool stuff on display there, including a handful of my customs that will be there as well. So you'll be able to see my custom work at the Mythic Customs table, the Legion Shop table, and the Wolf King Customs table. So point is, I'm bringing a lot of stuff. Crazy amount of stuff is going to be there. More customs than I've ever sold at one place, more customs than I've ever displayed at one place. That is what is going to be at LegionsCon in a couple weeks. Whew. Very excited. Quick question. What color would I say Mythic Legion's orc or goblin blood is? I would say red. I mean, I know a lot of people might go green or something like that. I'd probably just go with the standard red. I think that's probably the safest. Jeff, great question. As a fan and an employee, what am I most excited for from intern day through LegionsCon? Oh wow, Jeff, so much. I love intern for a day. I love welcoming people into the studio and seeing their genuine, like, just awe of the environment is super cool. To be a part of that is super fun. Um, GCon's going to be a blast. I mean, I've been, I've known what's coming for a while, and I'm dying to get it out there. I'm dying for people to, no pun intended, I'm dying for people to be able to see this. I mean, I'm so excited to share that. But on top of all that, I'm really looking forward to LegionsCon. I'm looking forward to setup night. I'm looking forward to walking in that room and just seeing everybody and giving people hugs and seeing people that I interact with all the time, but I get to see once a year. I mean, I mentioned Eric LeBron earlier, Dennis Derby. You know, I'm Walter Hagen. I see more than once a year because of Walter's role with the studio. But seeing Walter is always a blast. You know, the Legion's Lair guys. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There are so many people. The My Wife Is Going to Kill Me crew. You know, getting to see them. I haven't seen those guys in person since the figures were announced. So getting to see them and getting to, you know, feel the love and the appreciation that they are going to feel for us showing them love and appreciation, those are the things I'm looking forward to. And then just the show itself, just being in that environment, you know, being like just days of this. Like when it's over, it's like a breath of relief. It's like, okay, we pulled it off, but you're sad. Like going, like, I'm going to warn everybody going to LegionsCon, Monday's going to suck. Like Monday, when you have to go back and there's no, everyone around you isn't buzzing about Legions and you're on a high for multiple days to try to come back to reality. I mean, you're literally like, when is next year? You've got, we heard that last year. We heard people leaving LegionsCon saying, you have to tell me when next year is. I need to start booking it. I need to plan it. I cannot miss it. And that is our job. That is our goal. Our goal, and I've said this, the mission of LegionsCon has been to give everyone who walks through those doors such an amazing time that they could not imagine not being there next year. And to share it with everybody who's not there so they say, there's no way I'm missing this again. There's no way I'm missing this in 2023. Sign me up. I need to be there. That is what we work for. That is why I've been working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, some days, to make sure that this stuff is ready to go. And it's going to be worth it. So, Jeff, great question. That is what I'm looking forward to. Jones, we better see some dweezels. I don't have any dweezels, but you're going to make me want to go do one. I got a couple weeks left. Yeah, I'm actually in good shape, I think. I've heard Trevor asking a lot of people, like, you know, how are you doing? How are you doing? All the customs I want to sell are done. So those are all, I'm done with those. I have one more custom I need to paint that's not for sale. That's for exhibit at the LegionsCon table just to show a new part. So I have one more to do for that. And that's it. That's it from actual like painting work. So I'm feeling good. I'm in a really good position. Happy about that. Very happy about that. Now, that's just customizing. There's obviously a ton of other stuff that I have to get done before that. Uh, no, Star. So the reveal show for Necronominus is at the studio. It's the day before the con. So there's actually a link. Let me go here. I'll the best thing to do is this. I'll show you. Once again, sourcehorseman.com is where you want to go. So if you go to sourcehorseman.com, literally right on the homepage, this giant banner here, are you ready for Mythic Weekend? If you click this, this literally tells you all the information. So you can see that Thursday, November 3rd, intern for a day. That is a private, a closed event. Friday, November 4th, that is the G-Con Necronominus broadcast. There's a link right here to the YouTube channel. That is on the Friday. So the Friday is when we do the reveals. The Friday is when the pre-order begins. All the information about what's available, what the prices are, how long the pre-order is. Don't worry, it's a really big pre-order window. This is not going to be a 4-week window. This is, you're going to have time to get in on this. But that is the Friday. And then, of course, the Saturday and the Sunday, that is LegionsCon proper. That is the actual con, the live event. So the Necronominus reveal, it is live, but it is not in person, kind of. It is in person, but it's not open to the public. The interns who paid to be there on the Thursday, they're all invited back for the Friday. So they'll be the live studio audience. Additionally, friends of the studio, certain people that, got an invite to be there because they're a part of the success of what we're doing. And all of us who work at the studio, we will all be there. And I will be on camera for 6 hours talking with Eric. So my throat's going to be a mess. Let's see. Yes, Curtis, who is going to intern, says you are going to definitely see my awe. I'm hoping, Curtis, that I usually try to hang out like around the vestibule area because it's hard to get through the vestibule of Four Horsemen Studios because you literally walk in the entranceway and there's so much cool stuff to see in the entranceway that you could be in there for an hour easily before you even walk beyond this tiny, tiny little entranceway. I love to hang out there and greet people as they come in on intern, to see their faces and to be one of the first people that they get to see. That can, I love to be able to give them a warm welcome so they genuinely know how excited we are to see them there. Because it is true. Intern for a day is awesome for the interns. Trust us, we get a ton out of it as well. We love it. I know, Greg saying, I can't wait for G-Con because then we can talk about everything. Do I feel that next year's LegionsCon will be at a larger venue? Yes. I'm not going to lie. We thought we'd probably get a couple years out of this venue that we're in, and we've outgrown it already. We turned away exhibitors because we didn't have enough room. We filled it up almost immediately. We were like 75% sold out of vendor tables just from people from last year saying they wanted to come back. Almost everyone from last year came back, and the few that didn't, it's not because they didn't want to be a part of it. They had some life circumstance, scheduling or whatever, that they couldn't be there. So yeah, we could have put more exhibitors in there. And obviously we sold out. We sold out of tickets. We had sold out. We kind of reorganized some things. We said, you know what? We can probably drop a few more tickets. I think we're okay. So we dropped some more tickets on Monday and they sold out within 24 hours. We could have sold a lot more. We could have had people at the door. We could have had door walk-ups. None of that's going to happen. So yes, 100% Elijah, we are already looking for larger venues for next year. We have one tentative. It is in New Jersey. I've said this before. We're not going away from the area. This is home base, the New Jersey area where we are around, the studios in Little Falls, New Jersey. We want something that's 15, 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes maximum probably from that studio, because that's important. That's where we all are. That's where we need to be able to do the show at the level we want to do it. So that, just like Disney does their con where Disney is, Four Horsemen Studios does our con where Four Horsemen Studios is. Any chance of seeing production samples of the con exclusives? I don't have any of them here, but who knows? We'll see what future weeks have to show. Those reveal shows have been a blast. Yeah, I mean, if you enjoy the reveal shows for like Cosmic and stuff like that, G-Con is next level because it's 6 hours. It's 6 hours of us just going nonstop talking about it. Next year needs a Cosmic exclusive. I mean, we wanted to do one this year, but the parts weren't available to do, an actual figure at the show. Plus, I mean, God, we can't have an exclusive be the first piece that comes out from the line. So hopefully next year. Great question. What's the best advice I can get for first-time LegionsCon attendees to get the most from the conference? I'll give you a few pieces of advice. Meet people. Like, literally take advantage of what's going on. Introduce yourself. Don't feel like you're imposing. We are literally all there to hang out and talk about this stuff. After the daily con is done, people are going to be gathering at the hotel. There's literally a room that we're going to have open 24 hours where people are going to be hanging out and gathering. Go in there, talk to people, be part of that conversation. One of the coolest parts of the con is meeting people. Because let's be honest, buying stuff, yeah, that's all super, super cool. Seeing the artwork, seeing all of that, that is amazing. But you can buy stuff online. You can see the photos online. Not, of course, the same as seeing in person, but being able to sit there and have those genuine conversations and connections, to me, that is the most important part of the weekend, is the community aspect. So definitely do that. Look at the show map, figure out what you want to see. Figure out what, I mean, you got 2 full days. So get there, get in line. And I've said this before, you got to decide if you want to hit the Four Horsemen table first, you're going to wait in line. There's just no way around it. It's popular. A lot of people are going to start there. If you start there, depending on what time you get in line, you're going to be in line for a while. Once you're done at the Four Horsemen table, then you can do the rest of the show. Or if you're like, you know what, there's not a lot of stuff. I don't really need the stuff from the Horseman table. I have all of it. I want to see the other stuff. If you want to see the other stuff, you can just go into one of the other doors. You're probably going to be getting to the show a lot faster and see other stuff. So look at the show floor, decide what kind of con you want to have. Also look at the breakout sessions. We post that stuff in advance so fans can look at it and literally plan their day and start to say, oh, okay, I really want to see this presentation. I want to see this presentation. Plan that out. So have a plan. Also be flexible. Be willing to meet people. And don't. Number one thing, don't feel like you are bothering anybody. If you see me and I look like I'm going in a million directions, come up to me, introduce yourself and say hi. I guarantee you there is nothing more important in that moment than me stopping what I'm doing, looking at you, thanking you for being there, and having a bit of a conversation with you. And everyone else is that way as well. Everyone in the studio is thrilled that you are there. So please, you are not bothering us. We are there because of you. Hopefully that was helpful. It is hard to schedule your sessions. I mean, you look at those breakouts and it's like, oh my goodness, which one do I go to? But I mean, they're all great, right? LegionsCon doesn't pull any punches. It's not like we've got a whole bunch of filler and then a couple good people. And we're like, well, obviously you're going to go to the good sessions, not the filler. No, everyone who's exhibiting at LegionsCon is bringing amazing stuff. Okay. I actually heard Travis talking about this the other day on the 1/6 shooter, the Legions Lounge show. I always say 1/6 shooter. I don't, by the way, Nate and Bill, I always say him because it's his channel. I don't mean to slight you at all. That show is all three of you 100%. So I'm just going to call it Legions Lounge from now on. Those guys on Legions Lounge, they were talking with Travis, and Travis was saying that in part, it seems almost weird to go to a show where there's only one toy line represented, but it's also really, really cool because, like, you think about it, even like these giant shows, like these giant Comic Cons or whatever. New York Comic Con just happened last weekend. You know, you go to a show like that, and there's so much to see, but how much of it do you care about, right? If you're not into, anime, there's going to be a lot of things there that you have zero interest in because that's what they're focused on. So even though the show is gigantic, there only is going to be probably a handful of tables you're really interested in. Bill Drunowski was talking about this, where you bypass it. Oh, I'm interested in this. The cool thing about LegionsCon is if you're going, you're clearly into Legions. Every table is about Legions. There's a handful of tables that are, vendors selling some other lines as well. Obviously, there's the independent toy creators that are doing their own thing, but even those, a lot of people in the Legions community, they're excited to see Creative Beast Studios and what they're doing with their dragon and stuff. They're excited to see Plunderlings. They're excited to see Formo Toys and all of these companies, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. They want to see the Glyos guys. The community, that independent toy creator spirit is so in line with the Legions community, whether it's the horsemen themselves or the third party guys, it all is going to blend so well. So that's a cool thing I think about the show is that there's 71 tables in that room, and you're probably going to be interested in all 71 of them. There's probably going to be stuff there that's just going to blow you away. So excited for that. But yes, so we don't do any half measures. Everything is going to be hot. Excited for my first LegionsCon. Going with my lady and my daughter. They're just as excited as I am for me. Looking forward to meeting you and fellow ML collectors. Looking forward to meeting you as well. I will tell you this. A number of people have come in past years that had, their significant other with them, and their significant other was just there to support them. Almost without fail, the feedback I get is they had a blast. Like they came in and they were told, "Oh, I'm taking you to a toy show." And they were like, "Oh my God, this was awesome." To see all the artwork, to see the customs, to see the photography, to just see the energy, it's intoxicating. So hopefully your lady are going to have just as much fun as you. Do I think it's harder to sell a custom piece that is packaged like mine instead of out on display? Yes, I do, because they can't see it. However, I am showing, if you go to my Instagram page and you look at the stuff, and I can even do that here. Let me see. So what I've been trying to do is over the last few weeks, I've one at a time been posting on my Instagram page the customs that I'm bringing for sale. So I have a lot of people that buy my stuff. I'm very fortunate that I have a number of buyers that are excited for my stuff. So I've been posting them. My goal, and I will do a post, in the Cabal and on my page in advance, like a couple days before the show, that shows everything. What I have found, Eric, in the past is people tend to come to the show knowing exactly what they're looking for. And they know there's only one of each. So they usually have like a 1, 2, and a 3. Like, I want that one. If I can't get that one, I want that one. If I can't get that one, I want that one. But that's what I've been trying to do. This, oh, come on. I can't bring it up. That zombie, he's available for sale. This assassin is available for sale. These 3 G.I. Joe tributes. This orc here, actually Talak, is going to be available for sale. So I've got a bunch of them that I've been posting. So if you check out my Instagram, it actually has all of those figures that I'm going to be selling. But I do think, Eric, it is harder. So that's my point. Is I'm trying to fight against the fact that it's harder when they're packaged to sell them by showing everything in advance. And my goal is that by showing everything in advance, people will show up knowing exactly what they're looking for. So I won't be as reliant on people just walking by saying, "Oh, that's cool, I'll buy it." People come up to the table, know exactly what they want. Let's see. Is it bad that I've rewatched past G cons? I've done it too. I have. It's fun. I've put it on and just soaked it in. Uh, Curtis, nothing is off the limit going forward. I'm not the person to speak to, T. Billet. I'm catching a red eye Thursday, staying until Tuesday. Any recommendations on what to do nearby that's not New York City after the con? Um, I mean, I will say that that area, Secaucus, where we are, I do know there's like a huge, huge mall that's right like minutes away. I think they might have an amusement park in the mall or something. Like it's apparently crazy, crazy cool. So I would suggest that maybe going there and checking that out might be kind of cool. But if you don't want to go actually into the city, that's probably your best bet. A lot of people that live in that area that will probably have a better set of recommendations than I would. Yeah, you can do. So there is actually, Chris, there are rules. The sign for the 24-hour room is actually funny because it's a bunch of rules. And like I know the first rule is don't act like orcs. And it's all stuff that like, hey, don't do this. I mean, pretty much the only rules in the room are, don't be obnoxious and loud because if you are, they're going to make us close it. No vending. I'm very, very clear about that. Is I have a whole room full of people, Chris, you included, who paid to be at this event and exhibit their stuff and sell their stuff. The the room that we're allocating for this for people to hang out is not for somebody to set up a makeshift display to sell things. There's no vending in that room. You want to do a trade or two? Yeah, that's fine. At the small scale, that's fine, but no vending. Um, Clean up after yourself. It's basic stuff like that. But yeah, you want to do a midnight pop and swap? I'll tell you, at PowerCon that we did in August, after I don't know if it was the first night or the second night, but back at the hotel, we were in the bar area and it was a whole group of us. And there was a bunch of guys like Pixel Dan and a bunch of like the Motu guys were literally hanging out and they had a bunch of, I think they were Revelations. I'm not sure if they were Origins or Revelations figures, but they had a bunch, they were Origins. They had a bunch of Motu figures out and they were like playing, like literally playing, like crashing them into each other and fighting and stuff. So dude, you want to do that for Mythic Legions? Rock on. That's what that room is for. Braku, do not feel weird about that. I have people all the time that come up and they introduce themselves and they say, "Hi, my name is so and so." And I'm like, "What's your last name?" And they have to tell me their last name so I can associate with them with the posts in the cabal that I read. Or in this case, if you're like, "Hi, I go by Braku Prime on your YouTube, and I see you on your YouTube," I will know you. I will remember these interactions. I'll then also ask you what your actual name is so I don't have to call you Braku Prime. Art says very excited to go into my first LegionsCon and meeting you again. So Art, we've met before. That's super cool. I'm excited to meet you again as well. Yes, that's a that's a guide there, a tip. Don't be intimidated by brute scale Greg's height. Yeah, Art. So we met at ZoloCon. So that's what I did with you at ZoloCon. It was a great conversation. Absolutely. So listen to Art. Come up, talk. Let's have a conversation. Eduardo, am I correct in hearing that there will be enough con exclusive on both days? I plan on hitting the Horseman table, then the con exclusives. So yes. So The Horseman table will sell out of things. There are certain products that will be there this weekend that I know for a fact we have one case of. Now, those are the type of figures that we always limit to one per person. But even if we limit it to one per person, a case is 24 figures. So the first 24 people that want that figure, it's going to sell out. That will happen at the Horseman table. Now, of course, there's a lot of other figures that there's much more than one case that will be there. They're not going to sell out of everything at the Horseman table. This is not PowerCon. At PowerCon, we sold out of everything because we only could bring so much, and we were 8 hours away. That's why we do LegionsCon close to the studio. If we start running out of stuff, we can go back and get more. We probably will. The LegionsCon table, however, we have enough exclusives that we should be able to meet the demand for the entire weekend. The Saturday figure of the Unknown One and the Sunday figure of the Furious Four. It's one of the reasons why we set strict limits on the amount of people coming in so we could meet that demand. So my point here is you don't have to get, because the way it's going to be is you're going to get in the line, go to the Horseman table, then go to the LegionsCon table. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to get to the rest of the show, you can't get to the LegionsCon table, but you can wait for that line to die down. When that line dies down, and it will probably be a line for a few hours, when that line dies down, we'll remove the stanchions and kind of say, okay, do what you want now. At that point, we should still have plenty of LegionsCon figures. You can come up and get them without having to wait in some crazy line. I would say don't wait until the end of the day. There will be a point that you're going to want to make sure you have them by, but doors open at 9. You don't need to be in line for the LegionsCon figures at 9 a.m. If you wait until, lunchtime when the line has died down, you should be fine. Rosedale, hopefully you will be there next year. Walter the Mad, woohoo, LegionsCon. Yeah, Walter, can't wait to see you in a few weeks. How do I juggle between working the mechanics of the show and mingling with the fans? It is exhausting. I don't sleep very much. So the line will start forming pretty early, and I'll be down there mingling, talking to people. Anyone that's ever been to our shows knows that I don't just sit behind the table the whole time. I will come out of the show. I will work the line. At PowerCon, I spent over an hour just walking down the line, meeting fans, talking to everybody. So I love doing that. It's what I live for. That's where I'm most alive. So my energy level is at a 20 when I'm at the shows. And I just have fun. That's what I do. That's how I balance it. I just have fun, and I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere. Regrettably, a lot of people will ask, hey, can I buy you a drink? You want to go to the bar afterwards? I do often have obligations that I can't necessarily always do that, but I do it when I am able to. Dorclear says, Trevor and Nate do all the work. I just show up and have fun. Well, that sounds pretty awesome right there. I love that arrangement. No, I did not get Travis a hot tub. There is a pool, however, and if Travis is in the pool, it's a hot tub. Chuck and Luck saying, Chucky's Geek Spot. Looking forward to meeting everyone to talk about toys and effects. Let's see. Brian Brink, someone who's been at all of the LegionsCons. What's great about the growth of LegionsCon is that it's become a worthwhile event to travel to if you're a Legions fan. Brian, thank you very much for that comment. That means a lot to me. The fact that, obviously Emil is coming over again from Sweden, but the fact that Tomas is coming over from Sweden, and that's worthwhile. That's amazing. The fact that, I heard from the other day, someone made a comment saying, like, I can't wait to meet you guys. I'm coming in from the Philippines. And I was like, what the? Like, that blows my mind. That's part of, there's going to be moments this weekend there's going to be moments that weekend where I'm overwhelmed, where I look at what we've been able to build and bring together. both with LegionsCon and with Four Horsemen Studios, and it's going to be incredible and overwhelming. Yeah, Walter will let you buy him a beer and some tacos. He never says no to that. Peter saying, I said back in May when I got LegionsCon tickets, it would sell out. Yeah, we were beating that drum for a while, telling people, don't sleep on it. Don't wait. It's going to sell out. Yeah, so Dan is saying that you can indoor ski at that mall. Yeah, I've heard it's crazy. I'm not going to have enough time to go see it. My family's actually going to be there. So that's actually something I'm pretty excited for too, just on a personal level. A number of you that were at last year's LegionsCon or that watched GCon, you met my son last year. He was there actually running the Legion Shop table for me. He's going to be back this year as well. But my wife and daughter are actually coming in as well. They've never been to any of these things. My wife is incredibly supportive of all the work that I do. I couldn't ask for someone who would be more supportive. But the fact that she's going to be there and kind of get a sense of it is super cool. They were with me at ChrisCon a few months ago, and they got a little bit of a taste of what the fan base is like. And I intentionally brought them to ChrisCon first to give them a little taste, and then they're going to get the full entree at LegionsCon. Curtis, around the hotel, is it a fairly safe area to walk and grab something to eat? Absolutely, Curtis. So right across the street, literally like 100 feet away, there's a second plaza. In that plaza, there's a Bonefish Grill. That is where I assume a lot of people are probably going to be hanging out after hours to get drinks. There are some other pubs and taverns and there's an Olive Garden and stuff nearby, but they're a little bit, when I say further away, they're not far. They're all minutes away. But the thing with Jersey, there's so much highways that even though it may only be a couple-minute walk, you can't walk across the highway. So you've got to take a car there. So the Bonefish is literally across the street. In addition to the Bonefish, in that same plaza, there's a Panera Bread, there's a Jersey Mike sub, and there's a Domino's Pizza. There's a couple other stuff around as well. But I know that those restaurants are literally right across the street. I know that's probably where I'm going to be eating most of my food this weekend, that weekend. But it is safe. It is a very busy area. And when I say busy, I don't mean like Manhattan, New York City busy. It's a populated area. There's a lot of businesses there and stuff like that. It's a clean area. At least when I went there, it was very nice. So should be good. I don't know if there's a Toys R Us in that mall, Michael. Mythic Dolphin saying, I agree, Jeremy. It's Tiffany. I was an intern for a day with you in 2018. My mate David and my daughter came at the end of that day. Tiffany, I remember very well. Thank you. Very nice to see you again or speak to you again. And both had fun and both positively support my collecting. That's what it's all about. Okay. Yes, Curtis, the area is far less like Sopranos than you're going to. Don't worry. You're fine. Yes, Medieval Times is also nearby if you want to go do that. That is not inexpensive, super over the top, but pretty fun. Brian from Do Art Studios saying, please definitely come up and say hello. Dan Holmes saying, Hoboken is really nice. Lots of bars and restaurants. Anyone running a D&D game at LegionsCon? Not that I've heard, but that's a super cool idea. Eric LeBron said, just rewatched the video of you surprising the guys from My Wife's Gonna Kill Me with their figures. Literally had tears of laughter again. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. How will I relay that I'm Kevin Boots 77 in person? That's easy one. Chris saying, PSA for any last minute painters. There's a Michael's across the street from the hotel. Awesome. Get all the gear that we need, all the supplies. Okay, let's see. Just reading all these comments. Thank you very much for the interactions this evening. 118 in the chat, in the live currently. Thank you all for joining. Hit that like button. Curtis, any thoughts about breaking intern up for a day across multiple days? I mean, we did 2 different events this year. The thing you got to remember is the studio is a working studio, and literally nothing is going to be like no work is going to be getting done from Thursday through Monday. Because I mean, it's Thursday is intern, Friday is G-Con, then you got the weekend, and then everyone's hungover from just the craziness. So you always got to keep that in mind, the preparation that goes into it, the fact that everything kind of has to stop to do this. You got to take that into account. Plus, we do want to make it special. So, we were able to get quite a few people in this time, plus what we did earlier in this year. We definitely want to do more of it, but I don't think that we'll do more than, I don't think we'll do like multiple interns in the same week. I think that would just end up being a little bit too much for everybody. Eduardo, yes, the con exclusives are available to 2 of each per person. So the way it works is you're going to have your badge. At the bottom of your badge, there's a little box that says Saturday and another little box that says Sunday. What will happen is when you come up on Saturday, you want to buy your figures, they're going to say, how many do you want? If you say 1, they're going to notch a little 1 out. If you say 2, they're going to notch 2 little pieces out of it. So there'll be 2 little notches out. That will tell us that you purchased 2. So if you come up later in the day and say, I'd like to buy my figure, they're going to say, let me see your badge. If it's 2 notches are out of it, they're going to say, you've already got your allocation of 2. I am sorry, but that is all that you are allowed. So you will be able to buy 2. Specifically with the case of the Furious 4, the Furious 4 is a 2-pack. So it's 2 bodies, 5 different heads. 4 of the heads are to make the Furious 4 characters, and then the cat head and tail are exclusive to that version. So you need 2 of the 2 packs to have the 4 bodies to build the character. So yes. Hedgehog saying, Jeremy signed my Sir Gerard last year, and I'm still pumped about it. Are you going to wear the suit? Are you going to have the $1 million suit on at LegionsCon this year so people recognize you? Yes, I am going to need coffee. I do drink quite a bit of coffee, so I will definitely have some of that. Let's see. Brian saying, come visit Duart Studios. Seriously, dude, like they're going to miss it. Like they're not going to see the absolute insanity you have on your table. No one's going to miss your table, my friend. Thank you very much, Eric. That was very nice of you. Bonefish has good beers on tap. That's good to know. They don't have ski anymore, Greg says, but they do have a water park. So that's insanity. Yes, Maverick, I am ready for OMK to give me more business advice. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing OMK so I can, make sure that he's comfortable with the plan that we've set aside for the studio. I want to make sure that it lines up with where he thinks we should be going. Mark, how do you become an intern? By the way, we always call it intern for a day. It's not really being an intern. You're not working. It's really a studio tour. It's a studio tour where you get to visit the place. You do get to see how we do things. Like they do take you through all the different aspects of how we do stuff. Someone asked me earlier if Eric does sculpting demos. Yes, at these he will sit there and the Eric sculpting demos are insanity because he literally sits there for an hour and he starts and he says to people, well, what do you want me to sculpt? And they're literally like, they talk about it and they end up choosing something and he just sculpts it, literally bring it up on screen and he sculpts it for everyone to look. I remember my job at intern is traffic cop. I'm like I say traffic cop, I guess I'm the ringleader. I'm the one that like walks around making sure that all of the rings in the circus are doing what they should be doing. So I remember, I think it was in April, I went down to Eric and he was like 40 minutes into his hour session. And I look on the screen and there's a ball. There's literally a round ball. He hasn't started sculpting anything yet because there were so many questions that he was answering. And I literally said, Eric, you've got 20 minutes left. And he's like, oh my goodness, I got to get started. I went back in that room after 20 minutes and there was straight fire on that screen. It was amazing. Just a 20-minute rapid sculpting session. It was awesome. So interns, you're not actually interning, you're just hanging out with us and touring the studio. The way to become one is when we announced there's an upcoming intern for a day. I don't know what we're going to do next year. I don't know if we're going to do 2 sessions next year or if we're just going to do one in November again. But we will put out a call. We will tell everybody, if you want to be part of intern for a day, you have to register for the lottery. There's so much interest in the show, in the event, that we can't get everyone in. So the only fair way to do it is everyone signs up. We select, we know how many we can accommodate. We select a certain number of slots. We pull those names and they get an email saying, congratulations, you've been selected as an intern. You have the opportunity to buy a ticket. If you'd like to purchase the ticket, they can come and be part of the show. Let's see. No, you have not seen the Adaith packaging. Well, you've seen the artwork. The artwork has been shown already. Let me bring this up again. So the artwork that you see here on this banner, the one that's all the way to the left, that's the character art for Adaith. So that is on the packaging for the figure. But no, none of the packaging, none of any of that has actually been shown yet. Yeah, Logan. So good question. Will there be places to sit and take a break walking around the show? Yeah. So not in the ballroom. So the ballroom itself, there's no place to sit. It's going to be jam-packed. Outside of the ballroom, there's a whole open hallway. There's a couple doors there that lead to breakout rooms. If you go either through those breakout rooms or just around the corner into the other hallway, there's more breakout rooms. One of those rooms we are going to leave open all weekend with nothing going on in there. So it's just a place where if you want to go, if you want to sit down, if you want to, just hang out, talk to people, relax for a bit, you can do it in that room. Now, granted, it's not going to be super comfortable because it's just like, folding chairs and like, not folding, but just almost like it's conference room style chairs, right? Additionally, there's the lobby of the hotel. So there's actually a pretty large lobby in the front of the hotel that's right outside of where the LegionsCon space is. There's couches and stuff in there as well. So there are certainly places that you can go get a breather and sit down for a few minutes. Yes, Curtis, you absolutely can put that on. Intern for a day, Four Horsemen Studios. Star say, I'd love to get a copy of the first Cosmic Legions figure officially released, signed by Jeremy, the Horseman, and the crew. You can absolutely do that. If you come to a show, Star, we are more than happy to sign anything you put in front of us. Hedgehog saying, intern for a day is the coolest. Definitely try to go in the future if you can. Intern for a day tickets were $300 each. And what they included for the $300, you do get to bring a guest. So you do get a +1 for that. It's not more. It's $300. It's you and a guest get to come. You get to come for intern for a day, and you get to come back the next day. So it's actually 2 days. You get to come back the next day for G-Con to be part of the audience for that as well, and actually be in the physical space while we reveal the new wave of stuff. Yes, Eric is crazy. Maverick saying, do you want to wear the Aether mask I showed on the support group at the show? I probably, as funny as that would be, Maverick, I'm probably going to need to have my face open a little bit. So I'll probably have to pass on wearing that this time. Look at that. It is 9 o'clock. Goodness, that went by fast. Taking a drink. 90 minutes of rambling. Yeah, so super excited. This guy's going to be there. It's crazy that I still actually have, that first head that I painted for this figure all that time ago. What a journey. Literally what a journey. So I am super, super excited to bring those customs to show that. Like I said, when I laid out the full critter display. It was it pretty much blew me away the way that it looked and how expansive it was. It was very cool to see them all in hand, to see them all in front of him. So excited for that. I'm excited for this weekend. ToyCon's always a great show, always a lot of fun. Even just beyond meeting everybody and getting to do the studio stuff, being at a toy show like that with all that stuff, that is super, super cool. I've even got to the point, what I've started doing, actually, it's funny. I hate going to toy shows and not buying anything. Like, I feel like I've done it a lot where I go to a toy show and I'm like, there's nothing here that I want. And it's because I can buy so much online, right? We're in an era now where you can just pre-order the stuff. So you do that. So there are certain things that I've now decided I'm not going to pre-order, and I'm only going to get them if I can find it at a show. And it started actually at ZoloCon earlier this year. So at ZoloCon, I had wanted those. If you've seen those NECA Teenage Ninja Turtles that are based on Universal Monsters, that are designed by James Groman, I just thought those were super cool, right? And I almost bought, the first one was Raphael as Frankenstein's monster. I almost bought that, and I didn't. And then I was at ZoloCon, and I was walking around with Bill Mancuso, and there was a table that had one. And if you've ever seen the box is closed. So you can't see the figure inside until you have it in your hand and open the flap. And I said to the guy, I said, "Can I see that?" And he handed it to me. And the minute I opened it, it's so much larger than I thought it was going to be that I was like, I was surprised. And I was like, whoa. And I bought it right there. And I decided I want to get all of the turtle monsters, but I'm only going to buy them at shows. I'm not going to pre-order them. I'm going to leave those for something that I actually find at a show. So I know there's a few out. I only have the Raphael, so I know there's a few others out. I'm hoping to find those this weekend at the show. We will see. I don't know, Curtis. Maybe it does. Star, really looking forward to seeing you guys in person. Yeah, hopefully next time, Star. Hopefully next time we'll see you there. So with that, it is 9 o'clock. I'm going to call it an evening. Thank you all very much for joining. Can you believe it? We've got 3 more shows, 3 more Mythic Conversations between now and LegionsCon. And actually only 2 when you think about it, right? Because 3 weeks from now, that Wednesday night is the night before intern. That's the night before everything happens. So just like I did last year, I will be broadcasting live from Four Horsemen Studios that evening. That will be the way, this show will be the way that we kick off Mythic Weekend. So really, I've only got 2 more episodes between now and then. Going to have to decide what we're going to do. Going to have to bring something worthwhile to help continue to build this excitement. We'll see what it is. Tune in next week. Same Mythic time, same Mythic channel. I'll see you then.